Hey guys, welcome back. We wanted to show you, it's Mother's Day. We wanted to show you all of our beautiful flowers and how we plant them. I know this is a week away, but you know what? You'll get the concept. So we're out here planting them because I got all these beautiful flowers for Mother's Day. So let's get started.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, she's going to take the phone here real fast.
Lexi's going to do it while I'm taping so that
Yes.
we can do both.
Okay, so for Mother's Day, we already had previously planted these bubblegum pink petunias. So there's 3 of them in here. But then Dad came home and bought Mom this one. This really pretty, it has a little mini peonies in it, I think. And it has like the yellows, the purples, the whites. It is just gorgeous here. We're going to be transplanting a few of these. So we'll show you how we do those. Whoops. And then we have this big peony bush here. We have the black and the yellow.
Petunias, not peonies.
Oh, petunias. Yeah.
Petunias.
That's what I meant. You know, it's fine.
It's okay.
Okay, so first, I'm going to show you how we transplant these. So this soil was already in here from last year. So I just took my shovel that I've used enough that it's almost like a knife now. And I just kind of break up the soil so it's easier to work with.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And then I'm going to dig these out. And we're just going to transplant them. We just planted these, so the root ball is pretty much still intact. But we just kind of break up the root ball. And then we just stick them in. And we just plant them.
Yeah, we planted them thinking that we didn't have that, but we're like, okay, this flower here will go better in this container. If that makes any sense. So
the reason why we're switching them is that this is kind of a smaller plant, so it'll do better in the smaller pots, whereas this would do better in this pot. So
yeah,
Dad surprised Mom with some new plants, so we're just working around it.
Yes, he did a fabulous job. He gave me some really pretty flowers, if I can show you. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this, why Lexi's transplanting. If you ever have to transplant, go deeper, guys. Go bigger and wider and deeper so that you make sure that you get all of the root, because that's really important for the root system that's already been established if you're going to transplant them. And that's really for your perennials, annuals, anything that you're transplanting. And look how pretty that pot already looks, because it's really grown up. We did these a couple of weeks ago, and they're already starting to really grow and do really well. I'm going to show you over there too.
Yes.
Look at all these beautiful flowers. And this literally started from 2 little bitty flowers, especially this one right here. It's amazing how they're really starting to fill in so much already. They love the rain, not so much the wind, as you guys all know. So,
yeah, so right now I'm just kind of breaking up this extra soil. And we have what we call party-ready flowers. So if you take a basket that's already been established and you just put them right into your pot, they're already much fuller and more established, so they're more likely to also make it through the transplant. And this might be a little bit more soil than we need in this pot, so I might dump some into this container here.
Yeah, she's just breaking it up so it's not so hard to work with.
Just gonna put some in here.
Just put them down in there.
A little messy of a job, but you know.
It works.
I just did my nails too, so that's why these gloves come in handy.
I mean, we love the whole gardening, but you know, it's all about the nails.
Yes. Okay, so now that we have this, I have a little bit less soil in here. And I kind of just make like a bowl with the soil. So there's more soil on the outside because we're going to take these out of its pot and stick it straight into this pot.
Yes.
So it's going to come out of its basket that we bought it in. I'm going to take these wires off. These wires are always so hard to take off. There's little hooks on here. Oh well, we're going to bend it around it. We're going to adapt.
Do you need some wire cutters?
I might. No, we're going to get it. We're going to adapt here.
It isn't going to hurt it, I promise. It doesn't hurt them. They are fragile, but not to the point.
Fragile.
Not that fragile. It's like a newborn baby. You just kind of have to just work around them.
Oh, almost got this one. There we go. Okay, this will work.
Just don't let it hit you in the eye.
Okay, so what I do, these flowers, like you said, are
here.
fragile, but they're not super fragile, so you can work with them. They'll be fine.
Yeah,
so I just kind of lift up what I feel like is their hair, so you can see their soil. And on top of the other pot, you're going to wiggle this so it comes out.
Just like that. And see, the root system is so good there.
Yep.
Here, if I can help, I will.
2 hands is always better than one. There we go.
Yep.
Okay, now we want to break up this root ball. So you can see how it's been in this pot. You can even see the indent. If you take it, and just take your hand, crush it a little bit.
And
Helps break it up.
And what that does is it'll make the root system go deeper.
Yes. And then I just pat it into the existing soil and kind of make a mound now on top of it with the other soil. And if you water your plants before you transplant them from this, so much easier to make sure that they can grow big and tall. So much easier to work with when you're trying to transform the root ball.
Yeah.
See? We were kind of rough with these, and look how pretty they still look.
Look how gorgeous those are. I call this party ready, and Jason's like, oh, holy cow. He said, I didn't realize that you were like, you know, already taking so many of these things. I said, yes, it's absolutely wonderful because they're party ready. And honestly, the more established they are like this when they come in, they're just a little hardier. And as you guys can tell, we have tons and tons of wind. So you ladies that are asking about the wind, this is a really good way to honestly to shore up and make sure that they actually do take root. And
Yes.
so if you're asking about the wind, if you live in you know, a windier area like Chicago and Missouri and things like that, this is a great way to make sure that your plants are really well established so that they can take the wind.
Yes, and things that we like is like if you have a building here, so we keep these 3 pots against this wall here, that also helps with the wind. If they're just a little bit covered, it kind of helps. Or pots lower to the ground. Lower to the ground also helps with that. We have 3 different heights here. We have like the small, medium, and large. But it really does help. And petunias are so good with wind. They are like the hardiest flower ever, and they have so much color.
They do. And they'll regenerate themselves if
Yes.
they get too windy. So.
We had to put new soil in this pot because, you know, eventually your soil just gets kind of hard. So we wanted to make sure that it had enough fertilizer. So if you get the potting soil that has some fertilizer in it, that also helps. Because if you get Miracle-Gro, I think it has up to 6 months worth of fertilizer in it.
It does.
I add more, but you know, it's a good start. So in the bottom of this topiary here, if you want to come look in here, we put some bricks in the bottom, and the bricks aren't covering the drain holes. They're just here for some weight so this one doesn't tip over, which also helps in windier areas. So I just cover it up with soil like normal. And I'm going to add a little bit more soil before we add this big pot. We're going to do the same thing in this topiary that we did in the medium one.
Yeah. Sorry guys, I'm not the best at filming, but Lexi said, I'll let you film, Mom. So like, okay, perfect.
You're doing great. It's fine. Okay. I'm going to spread it around.
And you don't want to fill it at the top because, you know, once again, the root of those are already established and
Yes.
they take up a lot of room. So she's just making like a little bitty hole, basically, where the root system can go down, and then the flowers will just sit all
Yes.
around it.
I don't know if any of you guys have ever made homemade pasta, like Italian pasta. I love watching those videos, especially if like Jennifer Gardner. She has the best videos ever. But if you have like your flour and you make like a little bowl out there for your eggs, same concepts, just so nothing runs out. And these topiaries here have a little bit of like an 2-inch gap right here. So I just fill the soil into that to make sure when we water that the soil doesn't run off and we have enough soil in there. So if your roots are showing, it will be harder for your plants to adjust.
Yes, it will.
So make sure they're always covered. Okay.
So she's really making a little cavity there.
Yeah.
So
If it falls a little bit, that's okay. But you kind of want it to look like a little hole here. Okay, I'm going to take these off. These ones, the bigger pots are easier because they just have little hooks. So they actually just look like a shepherd's hook. The other ones are like entwined together. So wire
Yes.
cutters does help if you have them on hand. But we didn't. But, you know, it's
we literally forgot. We just got out of church and we're just trying to get these done before the rain hits.
Yes.
It looks like it's going to rain all of a sudden.
So one more time, we're going to just lift these up like it's their hair so you can see the separation here. I kind of hold on to a bunch of them with a group so you're not just putting tension on one. You kind of shake the pot. They're going to come out as one. So I'm going to go over this real fast. These are little styrofoam things. They will not hurt your plant. They help like retain water a little bit. But the way they're shaped, they also help water run off. So if you can see here, they kind of have an M.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of planters come with this. I don't ever take these off. I just leave them in the pots because
It's
during
not
the
gonna hurt.
summer months, it really does help make sure that these can retain some water.
And we all have really, if you're like Missouri, we have lots of heat and So it does really just helps.
The same thing, I kind of break it up a little bit. And we're gonna stick it down. These ones are big.
And there's the big ones.
So I'm gonna lift up the hair on this side so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. So
Oh,
this
yep.
is why we leave like a little dip, because we're gonna have so much soil come in with the pot here that I just shove it underneath it to make sure that it's gonna stay established and has plenty of soil. Because once you water these down, this dirt's gonna compact and there's not gonna be as much in here.
Yeah, they're going to just all kind of compact together.
Yes. And I would rather have too much dirt than not enough, because not enough usually means your plants are gonna die.
Yeah, especially when the heat comes on.
Yes. Soil really does help retain the coolness of it too. And like we said earlier, if you have less than a 20-inch pot, that pot is going to dry out a lot faster and it's going to get a lot hotter. So if you have more sensitive plants like shade plants, I suggest not putting them in less than a 20-inch pot because they will fry up.
Yes. So if you're out searching, I think we have a video that we're going to post about this better, but that we were in at Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere. But it basically says that any of your pots that are smaller than 20 inches will become crock pots, which is so important to remember. In other words, don't put these big, huge established plants in there because they will die.
Yes.
They just get too much heat.
So on top of having our party ready plants, we have another trick here for you. We love the look of petunias. We think they're so gorgeous. They add so much color. But when you put them in here into a bigger pot, they kind of spread out and you can kind of see they kind of look leggy. And we have this thing where we called thriller, spiller, and filler. This is our thriller. These spikes here, it's so tall, adds so much more dimension, and it adds another height layer to all of the flowers we have here. So we do the same thing. We just take them out of the pot here, break up the roots a little bit, and we stick it into the middle. So if you dredge a little hole into the middle of the plant, it won't hurt them. They'll be just fine, I promise.
Yeah.
And then you stick this one in. Really just work that one around. And then I say flowers are kind of like your hair. You gotta kind of train it. If you got curly hair, you know about that. You gotta make sure you curl it the same way because they're gonna want to just go wild. So you gotta kind of train them. Gotta use some little bit of hairspray. So I twist them. I twist them around. So these flowers here, they're gonna want to go down. And honestly, for petunias, you kind of have to give them a haircut every now and then. If they start looking leggy and like they're too long, go around the bottom and just snip off the bottom half, and we'll kind of show you guys a video on that later once they're more established. But it'll help.
Yeah,
Get
if
more
about
flowers blooming
if
to
about
the top.
the end of July or mid-July or whatever, if they're starting to look kind of, I don't know, just leggy and nothing you can do, not feeding them or anything like that, just give them a haircut, guys. Just go around. It's because it's actually taking too much energy out of the plant. So giving them a haircut will make them, thrive again. It just gives them more energy to keep growing.
And like I said before, make sure you give them a good drink before you plant them and after. So they kind of will look a little sad at first because they're just kind of like going through a little shock period. So like these are falling over. But once you water them and they get established with some sunlight, they'll be back to normal.
They will. They're just kind of going through some shock.
Yes. So I'm going to dust off some of the dirt here.
Another thing I want to say, the ones that you're planting, never feed them the first day that you plant them.
No, that will burn them. So their roots are they're immature again. So it's almost like they were established and they were good, and then you transplanted them into a new environment. They're going through like a little bit of like a shock thing. It's like when you drop your kids off at the first day daycare and they're like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Even though your kid might be outgoing, kind of same thing. So you kind of just got to baby them for a second. I wouldn't feed them for the first week. After the first week and they're established and they're looking healthy and they haven't been drooping, it's time to feed them. We'll go over that too. So here's our first one. We got this tall one here.
It's looking a little droopy, guys. Don't worry. It does this. It's just kind of in shock that you're transplanting it.
Yes. And here's our second pot here. We got this florally one. And then here's our third. So we have our large, medium, and small one. This is just our old pot, but
this is
here's
what
our
they
flowers.
look like. Look how pretty that is already.
And that's into our walkway here. We have our back porch open area right there.
Yeah, it's a doorway. So it's such a pretty inviting doorway here. So I just want to say that we call this party ready. So if you ever hear me say that, you'll know that's party ready. And now we're party ready.
Yep, and we're going to be planting 4 more of these big ones. And we also have some, I think these are gardenias over here. I remember. I think they're gardenias.
Yes, they're gardenias.
It's fine.
Uh-huh.
We all know what I'm talking about. So we're going to be showing you guys pictures of these ones, and then we're also going to videotape my garden back there, but we haven't got those yet, so we'll do that when we get them. Thanks so much, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.